Hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar from me in a mildly sunny but blustery Hastings today. It's just gone 1 o'clock, so I'm just going to give everyone a chance to join. Do feel free to drop into the Q&A box and say hi. We've disabled the chat feature as it can cause problems for some people using screen readers, but the Q&A option is still live, so do feel free to drop into there and say hi. Hello to Sharon. Glad you could make it today. And Pete, thanks for dropping in. Hi, Linda, Zinat. Got it. Hi to Kathy, Rebecca, Shane, Christine, Sophie. Thanks for saying hi. Just give it a little bit, a few more moments, and then we'll start. Hi, Sally. Hi, Vicky and Emily, Karen. Okay, so hi everyone and welcome to our webinar, which is Dementia AI and Simple Tech Tools that can help with Alzheimer Society and Recreo VR. I'm Annie Mannion and I'm Digital Marketing Manager at AbilityNet, and I'll be running you through today's session. So just to go through a few bits of housekeeping, we have live captions provided today by My Clear Text, and that's Claire in the background doing those. You can turn on the captions using the CC option on the control panel, and additional captions are available via streamtext.net/player?event=AbilityNet. You can download the slides if you wish and follow along. You can download them from our website at abilitynet.org/dementia-webinar. And if you have any technical issues or you need to leave early, don't worry, you'll receive an email within the next week sharing the recording, the transcript and the slides. And then depending on how you joined the webinar, you should find a Q&A window. So if you'd like to ask the panel any questions, do drop those in there. And any that we're unable to cover in today's session, we'll try to answer and add them to our website again at /dementia-webinar. So just a reminder for anybody who joined a little bit later, we've switched off the chat feature as it can cause problems for some people using screen readers, but please do use the Q&A for any comments. And then just finally, we have a feedback survey that you'll be directed to at the end. So do please complete that if you're able. So for anybody who isn't yet familiar with AbilityNet, we're now more than 25 years old, and we support older people and disabled people living with any disability or impairment to use technology to achieve their goals at home, at work and in education. And we do this by providing specialist advice, accessibility testing and training, and free information like our fact sheets and also this webinar. So today, discussing dementia AI and simple tech tweaks and tools that can help, we have joining us, we have Alex Barker, who's a disability consultant with AbilityNet, who you may be familiar with from some of our previous webinars. And he'll be highlighting some tech ideas that could help with managing dementia, including techniques for using AI. Also joining us is Angelo Macri, who is Senior Knowledge Officer for Wellbeing at Alzheimer Society. And he's going to share how Alzheimer Society can help people with dementia and their carers with tech and some of the risks with tech to bear in mind. And then finally, we have Sam Rooker, who is Director at Recreo VR, which has been working on a unique and really valuable and rewarding VR project with Alzheimer Society. So you'll see that in action towards the end of the webinar. So I hope by the end of today, you'll have learned key ways you can use tech if you have dementia or for anyone caring with someone with dementia. So I'm just going to start with the poll to find out a bit more about you all here today. So I'll just launch that now. So can you tell us, how confident do you feel using technology to help manage your or somebody else's dementia symptoms? Are you very confident, okay with some devices, apps and tools, not confident, not at all confident, or not applicable? And again, depending on how you've joined the webinar, you may find you can't see the poll, but you can respond in our Q&A panel. So I can see lots of people have participated. I'll just leave it a little bit longer so a few more people can vote. Okay, and I'm going to end the poll now. And sharing the results, you can see that the largest amount of responses was I'm okay with some devices and apps and tools, and that's 38% of you. 32 say I'm not confident. 13% not at all confident, 9% confident, and 2% very confident. So thank you for all your responses. And we've got some great advice coming up to help boost your confidence with using tech related to dementia. So with that in mind, I'd like to introduce Alex Barker to talk about tech and dementia, including how AI can help.
Great, thanks Annie, and good afternoon everybody. Can you put the next slide on please, Annie? Okay, so when I do these presentations, I always talk a little bit about myself, just to give you some context. So I worked for AbilityNet for more than 20 years. I've got a rare condition called Measley's syndrome. I only have 2 fingers on each hand, and I've got a paralysed face. I can't show any emotion. Without technology, I wouldn't have a job, wouldn't have gone to university, and I certainly wouldn't have studied abroad, both in the USA and in Sweden. I met my wife online, and she's got the same disability as me. We met on Facebook. She lives in North Carolina, USA, and moved to Coventry in 2018 when we got married. We were an internet sensation for 15 minutes. And I know what it's like to struggle to get my work done and to cope with day-to-day living. And I can relate to clients. I think it's really important to have a lived experience of disability. Next slide, please. So, everyone wants to know about the 3 regional overseas, and I guess you are now different. So we have 500 plus volunteers who can solve IT issues remotely, online or in person. We've got fact sheets, webinars and how-to guides are all on our website. We've also got the My Computer My Way website, which is one of our flagship offerings. Sometimes we have devices to donate to organisations via our partners. That's the Connecting You scheme. And we've also got news and blogs on our website, which we update on a regular basis. Next slide, please. So let's talk about My Computer My Way. So when a device comes out of the factory, whether that's an iPad or an Android tablet or a MacBook or a Windows computer, it is designed for a standard person. And if there's one thing we are not, it certainly isn't standard. And My Computer My Way can help you configure your device for your own particular requirements or the requirements of someone that you're caring for. Why don't we take a look at a couple of examples? Next slide, please. Okay, so here's our first tech tip. So it's how to use voice control in Android 14. So Android 14 is an operating system that is built into tablets and built into mobile phones as well. And one of the great things about Android is the fact that if you're not very good at using the touch screen or the on-screen keyboard, you can actually use your voice to control the device. And as you can see, halfway down, we've got a short guide Then further down, we've got a step-by-step guide, so it doesn't matter what your level of technical competence is, or whether you would class yourself as not having much technical knowledge. You can follow the My Computer My Way guide through, and you can change the computer, you can change the device requirements so you can actually talk to it. Next slide, please. Okay, one of the great things about the Apple operating system, or iOS, is that you can have a smartwatch, and the Apple Watch is a really, really good piece of technology for someone who's got dementia. Of course, other smartwatches and other manufacturers are available. But basically, I didn't really know this until I started. You can make your Apple Watch easier to use with Siri, and it's great because you can use Siri to set up a calendar reminder or something like that. So let me just demonstrate here. Get a reminder for today at 8 o'clock to watch the English football game. Okay, so now I have got a reminder to watch England play tonight at 8 o'clock. And it's as simple as that. You can do all sorts of things with Siri on your device. Next slide, please. Okay, another thing that is great is that if you've got a MacBook or an iMac, you can use the dictation function to basically dictate text into whatever you want to, whether you want to send an email or whether you want to find a website, you're able to dictate text. And again, it's got a short guide and a step-by-step guide. You know, there are lots of other tech tips we could show you, but these are the three top these are the three top tech tips that we wanted to get over to you. But of course, if you want any advice, you can always contact us. Next slide, please. Okay. So we're going to talk about how AI can help disabled people. And I use AI all the time now, and I think it's really, really useful. So this is a quote that I found on the internet, which I think sums up AI and how it can help. Alexa and Siri, Amazon and Apple's digital voice assistants, are much more like a convenient tool. They are very real applications of artificial intelligence that is increasingly integral to our daily life. They both rely on natural language generation and processing and machine learning, forms of artificial intelligence, in order to effectively operate and perform better over time. And that was a quote from an article online written by a chap called Bernard Marr. Next slide, please. So, digital voice assistants, they can help people manage their day-to-day lives, diary management, bill reminders, motivational quotes, and so on. They can also convert products into your around your house and convert it into a smart house. Sorry, I'll read that again. They can also control products around your house and convert it into a smart house. And one of the great things about digital voice assistants is they also don't get annoyed when you ask the same question many times. So this morning, I was a bit sleepy and I asked Alexa what the time was. Then about 20 minutes later, I asked her again what the time was. And she gave me the answer. And whereas if you're asking a person what the time is, eventually they'll get really, really annoyed. Next slide, please. So there are many different sorts of skills that might come in useful if you've got Alzheimer's. So you can download many various skills to help your digital voice assistant work for you. However, some are built in. So, for example, a great one for me, because I'm always using my phone, is Alexa, find your phone. So it will actually call your phone and hopefully you'll be able to find your phone that way. Of course, you can ask it what the time is or what the date is or whether it's night or day. There are some really great functionality built in, such as to-do lists or diary reminders or shopping lists. The list is almost endless. And the good thing about skills is that they are mostly all free of charge. Next slide, please. So one of the ones that I wanted to bring to your attention is that there's a pill reminder. Now, I could get Siri or Google to give me a reminder to take my pills. But actually, if I had an Alexa in my bedroom or in my living room, I or a carer could download a pill reminder skill and it would say, okay, you need to take XYZ pill at, say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And for people that have got Alzheimer's who maybe don't have a good idea of what the time is, the pill reminder can certainly be really, really useful to them. Next slide, please. Okay, so a lot of people are really, really concerned because they might have a loved one with Alzheimer's and they have a tendency to walk off, or they might have a tendency to use a device. So there are 4 examples here of how devices can help you. So the first 3 is a tile location tag, a Samsung SmartThings tile, or an Apple AirTag. So you can connect one of these to your keys or to your wallet or to your bag or whatever you want. If you've got a tendency to leave your possession somewhere and you can't remember where it is. But the thing that I really like about both Apple and Android is that you can actually track where someone is if they've taken their phone with them. So, for example, this is my lovely mother-in-law, and at a certain time last week, she went to the local shopping mall near where I live in North Carolina. Now, it doesn't give you exactly where they are, but it gives you a good idea of where they are. And I think that is really, really useful. And as long as you've got consent, and I know one of the other speakers is going to talk more about that in the future, I think that's a really, really useful thing to have. My wife uses it all the time just to keep an eye on where I am. So last night, she could see that I was nearly home because I was at the railway station. And I think it's a real comfort to people to be able to see where their loved ones are. Next slide, please. So here we've got various bits of smart technology. So from left to right, we've got an Amazon Echo Show. There are many different Amazon devices around. This one actually gives you a TV screen so you can actually see what it's telling you. We've got a smart plug to the right of that, so you can connect a lot of different devices into a smart plug. We've got smart light bulbs, so they can turn your lights on and off at various times in the day. They've got a smart watch, which I've already discussed. To the bottom of that on the left, we've got a smart coffee maker where you can get a cup of coffee like at 7:30 in the morning. We've got a robotic vacuum cleaner, which can help you do your housework. We've got a smart lock and 2 video door cameras, so you can see who's trying to get into your house, and you can decide whether you want to let them in or not. And then we've also got a smart thermostat so you can control the temperature of your house at certain times, or if you're out and it suddenly gets warm or cold, you can turn your heating up or down. Next slide, please. So other hardware, we've got a camera on the left-hand side here that works as a falls detector. So if you've got a loved one and they suddenly fall over, the camera will be able to work out that it can't see your loved one anymore, and it will raise the alarm. You've got a smart fridge. So, for example, it can probably tell you that you've gone to have milk on your cereal 5 days this week. You may want to put milk on your shopping list to get it for next week or for the weekend. We've also got a smart kettle as well, and all of these things are designed to help people's life be that little bit easier. Next slide, please. But one of the great things about AI is it can help you write ideas and content and help you to do your work. So let's take a look at them, shall we? Next slide, please. Okay, so for example, I wanted to write an 80th birthday speech for a loved one. In this case, I was pretending that I had an 80-year-old wife called Dorothy. And with Copilot, which is the Microsoft AI client, you can give it some ideas and it will give you some ideas back. So it talks about visit the memory bank, and it also talks about choosing a theme. But if we can go on to the next slide, please. You can get AI to create an itinerary. So this is on Copilot again. So for example, I wanted to know what to do in Bath when it rains or if it rains, and it gives me a list of things that I need to do that are inside. Next slide, please. But what some clients with AI will do is if you give it the prompt, so I wanted to write an 80th birthday speech for my wife Dorothy, ChatGPT will actually go away and come up with a speech for you. So if writing it's difficult, or if you just need some guidance, or if you can't think of things to say, let AI take some of the stress away. So this is for ChatGPT. Other chat clients are available, of course. Next slide, please. Sometimes one of the things that you might want to use AI for is to summarize documents. So, for example, there was a document on our local council website, and it was quite wordy and quite confusing. I had a look at it, and I've got to say that I didn't really understand the point that they were trying to make. And I wanted to see what an AI client called PAL would do. And if we move on to the next slide, please. This is a summary of what the actual document said. And to be honest, I would rather read a 6-paragraph summary than have to go through 2 or 3 pages of content, most of which I didn't really understand. If we go on to the next slide, please. Lots of people have difficulty writing letters, not just those people that have got Alzheimer's, but just a lot of people don't know how to address a letter. So, for example, I imagined that I live in a road that had quite a number of takeaway food establishments and restaurants and things like that, and I wanted to object about a planning application for another one. So I got Gemini, which is a Google AI client, to help me come up with a letter. I guess what I would say is that it can give you an overview of what you want to do, but to be honest, to improve the quality of the letter, you may need to put in particular examples of why you're complaining. It only gives you a general framework, but I think it's a really good place from where to start from. Next slide, please. And that concludes my part of the presentation. But if you want to call us, you can call us on 0300 180 0028 or drop me an email at alex.barker@abilitynet.org.uk. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Alex, for your whistle-stop tour of useful ideas that hopefully you can try out. And like Alex has said, please do give us a call if you have any particular questions. So now I'd like to introduce Angelo Macri from Alzheimer's Society, who's going to share some advice from the charity about using tech with Alzheimer's.
Thanks, Annie. Afternoon, everyone. Okay, let's get straight into it. If I could have the first slide, please. So I'm just going to very brief overview of what dementia is. So essentially, it's a group of symptoms. It's caused by different diseases which damage the brain. So I've used Alzheimer's as an example, as that's the most kind of common cause of dementia. But there's lots of other things that can cause dementia. The types of symptoms are things like memory loss, confusion, needing help with daily tasks, problems with language and understanding, and changes in behavior. Unfortunately, dementia is progressive, so that does mean that symptoms will get worse over time. Can I have the next slide, please? So some of these actually Alex has covered already. So just in terms of how technology can help a person with dementia. So I put these into 4 quite broad categories. So firstly, it can help a person to keep safe. So this could be through using remote alarms or telecare systems, automatic lights. So the person, if they get up in the night, and maybe need to use the toilet, then they don't need to find the light switch. The lights will just go on for them. I've also put movement sensors. So this can be this can be for a carer, essentially. This can help a carer to know if a person is kind of up and about, if they're moving around their home. If they're not, potentially there might be something wrong, so the carer can go and check on them. So then they're staying independent. So this could be things like electronic medication reminders, electronic clocks and calendars, GPS devices for safer walking. So that's similar to what Alex was speaking about with the kind of the Apple tags and things like that. But they're more, these devices are actually, they're more, they're more kind of sensitive in that they don't tell you, that they tell you where the person is right now. With the Apple AirTags and things like that, there's a delay there. I think it's every few minutes. They kind of log their position every few minutes. With the GPS devices, there's a lot of different functionality, but generally they tell you where the person is right now. And also the person can speak to you as well. Some of them are two-way. So keeping connected and engaged. So this can be video calling and messaging apps, robotic pets, which some people find really useful, really kind of helpful, especially if someone used to have a pet, but they're not really able to look after one anymore. I've included social media. Social media can be amazing. You know, there's a lot that's good about it, but usually with the person with dementia, I would kind of emphasize being a bit cautious about who you're speaking to, just because there are a lot of kind of well, scammers around. We'll touch on that later, but just yeah, just to bear that in mind with social media. Lastly, I've said that technology can help a person to continue to enjoy hobbies and interests. So, for example, watching videos online, watching favorite TV shows or films, virtual assistants, which Alex mentioned, so that you can ask Alexa or Siri or Google or whoever, not trying to favor one assistant over another. You can ask them to play a piece of music or to play a certain style of music, and they can do that for you. And also virtual reality. So I know Sam's going to talk about that a bit later on. So I won't go too much into that. Could I have the next slide, please? So there are certain considerations with any technology. So the first one is person-centered care. So essentially, this means putting the person and not their condition at the center of any intervention or caring approach. So it's not just about looking at the type and the stage of the person's dementia. You're looking at who the person is, their personality, their likes and dislikes, their life history, where they've lived, what jobs they've had, all of those kinds of things. They're really important to take into account so that any technology or any kind of intervention, say, is going to be suitable and appropriate for that person. So an example of this is if a person has always typed on a physical keyboard, then using a tablet might feel a bit alien to them. They might not be very happy doing that. At the same time, if someone has always used a keyboard, a physical keyboard, but they're not able to anymore, maybe because of arthritis or another condition, then actually a keyboard on a tablet might be the best thing for them because it's you know, the layout is the kind of QWERTY layout. It's the same layout. So for some people, that would be what's best for them. So it really does depend on the individual. It's really important to look at the individual. Could I have the next slide, please? Okay, so again, Alex touched on this. So consent and mental capacity is really, I cannot overstate how important this is. So if the person has got the mental capacity to consent to a particular intervention or a particular device, then it's so important that they clearly give consent before anything is put in place. This is especially important if there's something which might take away the person's privacy or might might infringe on their privacy on some way, or take away their independence or their freedom in some way. So that could be things like movement sensors in the home. It could be things like GPS devices that the person wears and essentially can be tracked wherever they go. All of those things, it's really, really important. If they've got mental capacity, they have to really understand what it means to use those things, and they have to give their consent. Now, also, just to say, capacity can fluctuate, and you can have capacity for one decision, but not capacity for another. So that's why I say it's about the mental capacity to consent to a particular intervention or a particular device. It's not kind of a blanket term, mental capacity. Okay, so if someone doesn't have the mental capacity to consent, then a decision needs to be made on their behalf. So this is essentially what's known as a best interest decision. In saying that, the person should still be involved in the decision as much as possible. If there's a power of attorney in place, the attorney can make the decision, or if there's a deputy in place, the deputy can make the decision. But again, they need to involve the person as much as possible. Because of time constraints, this is just a very quick overview. So we've got much more information on our website about the Mental Capacity Act. That sets out the law on making these types of decisions. It also includes guidance on how people can make decisions, and also what the criteria are that is used to determine whether someone has mental capacity for a particular decision or not. Could I have the next slide, please? Thanks. Okay, so there are a few other considerations. So, as I said, unfortunately, dementia is progressive. So what that means for technology is that anything that's used, it's likely to need to be adapted over time or changed over time. So an example of this is in the early stage of dementia, a person might need an alarm or calendar to remind them to take their medication. As things progress, that might not be sufficient anymore. And they might need, for instance, a monitored electronic pillbox. So the way that works is if the person doesn't take their pill from the box, it's actually connected to a call center. So someone can phone the person, and the idea is they'll phone the person to remind them to take their tablet. But obviously it also works in terms of phoning the person and making sure they're okay, that they're answering the phone. The next point I've said is dementia and learning. So dementia is going to affect a person's ability to learn new skills and to learn, new technology, that kind of thing. So it's really important, if possible, to introduce new technology as early on as is possible. It's not always realistic, and you don't always know what the person is going to need to use later. But generally, as far as possible, introducing technology as early as possible is generally going to be the best approach. So looking at ease of use, I've put that the more familiar, intuitive, and user-friendly the technology is, generally, the easier it will be for a person to adapt. So, for example, in terms of familiarity, going from a kind of a landline analog telephone to a mobile phone isn't that much of a leap. You're still holding a handset, you're still holding it to your ear, you're still speaking into, the part down here. It's not that much of a leap. However, going from using a telephone to using a smart speaker, so Amazon Echo or something, or Google Home, that is you're basically calling out, dial this number for me, and then asking the smart speaker to dial the number for you. So for a person with dementia, that's not very intuitive. It's certainly not familiar. So that kind of thing needs to be borne in mind. The technology might be really useful for someone who doesn't have cognitive issues or memory issues, but for a person with dementia, actually, that might be quite confusing to do that. Can I have the next slide, please? Thanks. So very briefly, looking at online safety. Now, a lot of the advice around this is going to be the same for people with dementia and without dementia. So ensuring antivirus software is up to date, setting kind of strict security settings and browser controls, those types of things. That's generally useful for everyone. When someone has dementia, though, it's important to look at exactly what's happening and why it's happening, and also when it's happening. So an example of this is if someone is compulsively shopping, if they're buying things on websites all the time, look at kind of when that's happening, what their mood is like. You know, are they trying to fulfill some kind of unmet need when they do that? Or if a person's giving out personal information on social media, you know, are they not getting enough social interaction in their daily life, or are they bored? You know, these are the kinds of questions to ask before looking at kind of technology to kind of restrict things. So I put a few examples of what can be done. Once again, it's really important to bear in mind consent and mental capacity, as mentioned earlier. I'm not going to go over the whole thing again, but it's really important to bear that in mind. So one of the things is monitoring financial transactions. So looking for anything unusual, anything that looks fraudulent, any huge amounts of money going out. Similarly, monitoring emails for any suspicious messages or any spam that seems to be coming in, any kind of phishing scams, anything like that. Also, actually deleting apps. So if there's particular apps or payment websites, things like that, or shopping websites, anything like that, deleting the apps or kind of blocking the website, that can actually help. Again, I know I keep caveating this, but consent is hugely important here. So before anything is done, that needs to be borne in mind as well. But that can be a way of stopping certain things. And also clearing saved credit card details just to make it slightly more difficult to buy things or to give out you know, not having credit card details next to the computer kind of thing. Anything that's going to make it slightly harder to get scammed, essentially. Okay, can I have the next slide, please? I think that's yeah. So yeah, I need a reminder to say thank you. Thank you. We've got lots more information on our website if you're interested. As I say, that's kind of a whistle-stop tour. We've got a lot more on our website. So I'll pass back to Annie now. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Angelo. Some excellent advice to bear in mind, and yeah, we'll hear more from you in the Q&A later on, and I can see lots of great questions coming through. So now over to Sam Rooker, who will share Recreo VR's inspiring use of VR with Alzheimer's Society in dementia care settings.
Lovely, thanks, Annie. So if I could just have that first slide, please, Kelly, that'd be great. Lovely. Yeah, my name's Sam. I'm one of the directors of Recreo VR. Thank you for everyone for attending. Yeah, I'll give you a bit of a background about us. We're a company that provide easy to use virtual reality headsets with person-centered virtual environments to the care sector, focusing very much on people living with dementia. So the experiences themselves are designed to improve mental and social well-being, but also act as a tool to help with a reminiscence as well. We've now been supplying headsets primarily to care homes since 2021, and we now actually expanded to work with local authorities, day services and domiciliary care providers, and now also we're going through the process of readying ourselves to provide this technology to the NHS as well. Again, focusing on dementia units and wards. So in March 2023 now, we were accepted onto the accelerator program run by Alzheimer's Society, which has been incredibly useful for us. And I'll touch on a little bit about how it's helped develop our service, but also the evaluation and the evidence that we've gained from working with lived experience groups and different sort of areas of the society. But I think first it's probably best to give you an idea of what sort of my personal motivation is for innovating in this area, particularly for people living with dementia. Next slide, please, Kelly. So here's a nice picture of me with my granddad and my nana. So my nana was diagnosed with dementia when I was 15 years old. When I went to university in Hull, my granddad was at that time in a specialist dementia care home, and my granddad, who was a very good charmer, had basically convinced care staff at the home to allow him to take her out for the day. So he needed somebody to get her in and out of the car when we got to the destination. So he enlisted my help, and I was very happy to go along. We got my nana in the car and started driving. I don't know how well people know Yorkshire and especially the sort of Hull and northeast area, but we left from Hull and the idea was to drive to the coast, so go to a place called Hornsey. And as we were driving, my granddad and I were in the front of the car. My nana just started looking out of the window, pointing and smiling and trying to talk with us and converse with us, which was something that we hadn't seen for a while. And it was a really lovely experience. And essentially what we're trying to do is what I thought happened, or we think happened there, was she was taken out of the environment that she'd found herself in the care home and started seeing these familiar places, this route that she had been on many times before with my granddad and my two uncles. And essentially, that change of scenery brought this reaction in her. And what we're trying to do is essentially replicate that experience, but using virtual reality. Next slide, please. So what are we trying to address? There's obviously when people living with dementia go into care homes, they often experience an accelerated cognitive decline. Obviously, the dementia is obviously a progressive disease, and one of the main things that we can do is try to help maintain people's social and mental well-being. So this is an area which we're really keen to help with. Obviously, there's people exhibit challenging behaviours and become confused, distressed. I've put sundowning there because this is an area that we're looking to do a bit more evaluation with the team at Alzheimer's Society. But again, obviously, meaningful activities for people living with dementia in care settings can sometimes be difficult to access, and accessing these places and these memories that people have is a really easy way of getting people to share their life story. So that's something that we're looking to help with. Next slide, please. So how are we trying to do this then? What we've done is undergone a period of research and development. So and then obviously our work with Alzheimer's Society has accelerated that somewhat. But what we do, you can see the model of headset we use there. It's called a Pico G3 headset rather. It's really lightweight. It's counterweighted. There's a battery pack that's at the back on the head strap. So the headset doesn't pull forward as much as some sort of contemporary headsets do. And crucially, it allows us to put our app straight onto the headset. So when carers are using the headset with people living with dementia, they simply just turn the headset on and they're immediately put into our app. There's no controllers or difficult operating systems that they have to manage. And to give you a bit of background, once the headset's turned on, there is rows of 3 experiences or 3 videos going down. At any point, there's around 20 to 30 videos on the headset. And to play one of the experiences, you just simply have to look at the video. A grey bar goes up and then you go into the experience. So you can take, if you were selecting an experience for somebody, you can then take the headset off. It pauses that experience. you've got as much time as you need to actually engage the person, put the headset on, and then they're immediately in the experience. There's nothing that they have to do, no difficult or confusing selecting of experiences that they have to perform. We co-designed the experiences, but also the way that we approach using this technology with people in care. So the experiences are all filmed with a stationary camera and recorded at sitting height. So essentially what it's like is as if the person who's sat in a chair puts the headset on, they're sat looking at the environment or the content in front of them, essentially. And we realized really early on that we needed to make these experiences person-centered and meaningful. So a lot of the work that we did with Alzheimer Society was around creating a content library, essentially, of experiences that can relate to people across the country. So we focused on different people's hobbies and interests, and it was interesting to hear Angelo pick up on that use or this use of technology helping people reconnect and engage with their interests. But hobbies, interests, places around the UK, places abroad that people will have been on holiday to, and all kinds of other different experiences. So religious settings and seasonal content as well. All of these places, these experiences that people might not be able to access, we've created a platform and filmed these experiences and give these people opportunities to revisit these places again, essentially. And as we primarily focus on providing this technology to care homes and care providers. It's incredibly important to have people on the ground who are using the headsets trained up and happy and quite experienced in using this technology, and then also the support as well element of integrating a service like this is really important. So the content that we provide on the headsets is actually cycled every 6 weeks. So there's new experiences on there during that period of time, but we also liaise with the care providers, the care homes, to find out if there's any experiences that their actual individual people that they support would like to have access to. So to give you an example, we had a care home get in touch with us who had somebody who was a keen angler, used to go fishing quite a lot. Obviously wasn't able to partake in that activity nowadays. So we have an experience of somebody fly fishing on the River Wye, and the point of view is just a person sat on the bank watching this happen and often commentating on what the person's doing or doing wrong as well, but trying to sort of source that content and make it available to those individual homes and individual people is really important and part of the support package that we provide. So yeah, next slide, please, Kelly. And so yeah, I'll quickly go through this. This is we obviously went through that period of research and development, but a part of the accelerator program, the schedule that we did was how do we evidence what we're doing is beneficial and actually is something that people can engage with, especially those living with dementia. So we ran a study with over 100 people living with dementia in a mix of different settings. So around 50% of them were people who were living in care homes, and 50% were those who attended Alzheimer Society dementia cafes. And I'll talk you through some of the stats, but also the qualitative data that we got from this study, which were really encouraging. So 97% of people actually engaged with the headset. So when we ran a session, that is somebody actually putting the headset up to their eyes, having the strap around the back of their head, and on average they enjoyed at least 3 to 4 experiences in virtual reality. So that's about 8 to 12 minutes in different virtual environments. which is incredibly encouraging. I mean, that's something that people, when they think of virtual reality and dementia, it's not sort of something that people think would be overly sort of accepted, but 97% of people actually use the headset. The 92% of people said that the headset was actually comfortable, and as you see here, 86% of people enjoyed the experiences that they were shown and actually wanted to have access to VR in this form moving forward as well in their care plans. So one thing that we found just from sort of speaking to people and getting feedback whilst we were doing this study is that the experiences actually help people recall memories. So there's an example of this. There was a lady who who attended a dementia cafe. She was in her 90s, looked after by her daughter, and she put the headset on, and it was a video of, you can't see him, but my dog who's just laid on that bed there, a simple video of Nico jumping in and out of a river, fetching a stick. And she was sat on the bank watching this happen and happily was talking about her experience, her dog owning history, essentially, going back to, I think it was like the 1970s. So talking about different, the names of the different animals and pets that she had, the personalities and breeds. So a really, really good tool at actually helping people access these memories again. And again, it increased, and is an example of increasing that social well-being of sharing life stories as well as reliving them. We found evidence of prolonged mental well-being as well. So we've been involved in a couple of dementia care mapping exercises, and we've seen that actually after using one of our headsets, somebody has been engaging with other residents in care homes and members of staff in a really positive way. Still, half an hour after using the headset. And something else that I've not put on there, which is worth mentioning, we have examples of our headsets being used as a way of help, a sort of non-pharmacological behavioral intervention tool, which sounds slightly sort of elongated, but essentially it helps people become calm and relaxed if they're distressed. One example of this, so very early on we started working with a care home in Hull, and there's a lady who was from the place called Filey on the coast, and she would get distressed and confused and want to go home, and then and not understand why obviously she couldn't go back home. So the care home asked us to go and record Filey, so that they could, when this person wanted to go home, they could take her there virtually. And we went and did this. We recorded the beach and the town and put it as an experience on the headset. And now it takes one member of staff 2 minutes to really reduce the levels of agitation in this resident, and essentially, you know, take her back home. And this is key. It reduces the potential need for medication, and also discomfort and yeah, ill feeling that resident can have, but also can have on the can cause on the other residents in the home as well. If you, next slide, please. Sorry. So here is a quick link of some residents who were involved in the study using the headset and giving their reactions to it as well. So just play this. Sorry.
Fantastic. Oh, it is.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh, it could bring me tears to my eyes. Yeah, it was lovely, wasn't it? All the different things, and it's wonderful how they do make these things. Fantastic, aren't they?
I've never, ever had anything like this. It brings so many memories back, you know, when you see certain places and things.
They look well, don't they? The sky was beautifully blue and everything. It was lovely, it really was lovely.
The lady with the blue jumper on is actually 103 years old. So somebody over 100 years old using this technology and engaging with it and really enjoying it. So they're my contact details. If anybody would like to sort of have a follow-up, we do online demonstrations where we sort of go into a bit more detail about the content and the different examples of using this technology. But yeah, please feel free to reach out, and thank you very much for your time. I'll pass back to Annie now.
Thank you so much, Sam. What a fantastic way to use VR. And yeah, it's really inspiring to see what a difference it makes to people's lives. So we've run over quite a bit, so just feel free to stay. We're going to carry on for a few more minutes. Hopefully that's okay with everybody, just so that we get a chance to go through some of the questions that have come through. And we will answer as many as we can on our websites at /dementia-webinar after today. So apologies if your question isn't answered live, but just before we do that, many of you joining us today may have registered via some recent news coverage of survey results about carers of people with dementia. And that was commissioned by BT Group, which AbilityNet has been working with over the past year to help boost the digital skills of older people. So the main finding of that survey was that carers say tech is crucial for people with dementia, but they need digital skills support, but that they don't know where to start with getting that support and building those skills. The results showed that 40% of carers are unsure how to use technology in their caregiving routines, and then 52% feel there isn't enough training to help them use tech in their caring for loved ones. So that's where we can come in with resources to help. So there's some links on the slides, and we'll share those in the email that you'll receive after today. And you can learn more about the survey at abilitynet.org.uk/BT Carers Survey. And then just to share a little bit more about the BT Digital Skills Project, if you aren't already aware, we have opportunities for free in-person digital skills support as part of the project, available in London, Birmingham, Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh and Cardiff and surrounding areas. So do find out more about that at abilitynet.org.uk/BT Digital Skills. So just moving on to the Q&A, we've got loads of questions that have come through, so do fire away and we'll answer as many as we can. So just taking one of the ones that came through earlier on. So how do you switch on Find My Phone? Is that something that, you know, is quite a straightforward thing to answer, Alex?
Yeah. So Find My Phone is actually on your iPhone or your tablet. So there's no, all you've got to do is just put in Find My iPhone, and then you can do it. So for example, I've just done it here, and if you don't know what the icon looks like, it is basically an icon with a green circle on it and what looks like a blue radar ring. And the only thing that you have to do is that, say for example, my wife wants to know where I am, I've got to agree to her having access to my phone. It should be a 3 or 4 minute job, but if you don't know what to do, call us and we can get a volunteer to support you in doing that.
Thank you. And then a question for Sam from Wendy. What is sundowning?
I'm probably not the best person to ask about this. It's I think when towards the end of the day, residents or people living with dementia tend to have more confusion and become more agitated. And yeah, it's again going back to that sort of link of using VR to sort of maybe try and help with that kind of situation. That's what we're looking to sort of do another study in, basically.
Okay, and then just a kind of there are loads of questions that have come through about the specifics of the headsets, but
Okay.
Can VR headsets easily be used by those people wearing spectacles?
Yes, yeah, they can. And the headset that we use has this a cutout channel on the side of the basically the face mask, the foam part of the headset, which allows people to put the headset on. There's typical when we're showing people how to use the headset with people wearing glasses. It's key to essentially a lot of people try to move the headset up like that as if they would do a pair of swimming goggles, for example. If you do that with glasses on, you then take the glasses with you. So we always make sure that we just pull the headset sort of away on the plane of the eyes, essentially, to minimize that. But yes, it can be.
Okay, thank you. And then a question, Angelo, you may have been asked similar questions before. If somebody is wanting to avoid climbing up the stairs if it's dangerous, do you know if there's any kind of tool available to alert anybody about any risks associated with doing that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, for telecare, there are mats, there are pressure mats. So if someone starts to walk towards the stairs, for instance, if someone gets to the bottom of the stairs and steps on the mat, it can then alert someone, a carer. What might be more immediate would be there are movement sensors which can play a recorded message. So if you know that that your family member is going to want to climb the stairs, you can put a sensor kind of at the base of the stairs. So as they walk up, the sensor can then play a recorded message. So it could be your voice, for instance, just saying, don't forget not to climb the stairs, mum, or however you want to phrase it. So it's those types of things. I know that I saw the question. I know that they're hesitant to put kind of a stair gate. Depending on the situation, it very much depends on the situation. But I know that sometimes that is kind of a last resort, but that sometimes it works. So I would say that's something to bear in mind as well, even if it's not ideal.
Okay. Well, thank you, and I'm sorry that the Q&A isn't quite as long as we might usually have available, but as I say, we will answer lots of the questions that have come through, and thank you so much for posing them and everybody for answering them. So just think it's time to wrap up now, but thank you so much to Sam, Angelo, Alex and Claire with My Clear Text, and my colleagues Kelly and Emma for helping out in the background. And then just to briefly share a bit more information that might be of interest. Alex mentioned the help that we have available at AbilityNet, so please do get in touch if you'd like further assistance. We also run online training sessions on digital accessibility and inclusion at /training, so please do check those out. We have a course running tomorrow, a free course, how to build a disability inclusive workplace, so please do join us for that. And then if you would like to sign up to our newsletter for the latest advice about inclusion and our next free webinars, you can do that at /webinars, and you can see the latest ones we've got coming up. So thanks again to everyone who's joined us, and please do complete the feedback form that you'll be directed to, and we'll be in touch with you soon. Bye everyone, and hope to see you at the next session.